first impulse when humans are facing new technology is fear. It goes all the way back to the myth of Prometheus, where he stole the fire from the gods and gave it to humans, and he was punished for that for eternity. Because what are humans going to do with fire, right? They're burn down villages, they're going to burn witches at the stake, right, and do all kinds of havoc. But in reality, fire also kept us alive as a species, right? Kept us warm in winters. It makes our food. It's so much else. Light. I think this ethical debate comes up every single time when we face new technologies. Oh, it's going to be bad if we all live in the metaverse. Oh, AI is going to steal our jobs, right? God forbid the tractor is going to put a lot of farmers out of business. I think in hindsight, it's probably good that it was tractors. Otherwise, we wouldn't be at an art gallery right now. We would be very tired after a long day on the field. So I think sometimes we jump to this question of ethics too soon, and in fact, we apply to the wrong questions. So for example, misinformation. Can we get misinformation other ways without AI? Absolutely, we've been really good at that the last few years, right? I mean, just look at Facebook in the last 4 years. I mean, most articles are people read the headlines and the headline's probably bullshit, and then they share it and it becomes a news story. And even reporters themselves will take that fake thing. So I think people need to use their brains when deciding whether or not to trust the AI. Everybody needs to know whatever ChatGPT tells you is not fact necessarily. Sometimes they call it phantom memory. They create more or less information out of nowhere. So that can happen, right? But it's not enough to kill it, right? And then, for example, let's say art. That's a very common thing actually people bring up. People hate on Midjourney and other technologies like that because they say, it's not that the AI is a creator, but rather it has learned, it has looked at millions and millions of images and now creates something that is more or less a combination of all these different things. And so they claim that it is stealing from the shared knowledge of art, right? But there's also the idea of the whole, in literature, for example, everything is a monolithic tale. Everything comes from the same thing, right? We all the hero's tale. It's been reinvented so many times. So whether it's an AI or a human, even human artists probably have been inspired by somebody, right? And so, again, I think the first question shouldn't be, how can we regulate this, or how are the ethics wrong here and we need to kill it? Instead, we should ask, how is our worldview as a species going to change because of this fundamental change, right? So for example, as an artist, you're going to use those tools. It's not the finished, Midjourney is not a finished product, but maybe it's your first draft. You have this idea in your brain, you want to get on a page, now you've got something, and then you're going to change it up and you're going to use it. I see this with game development studios, for example, where in the past it took 100 people to make a game. Now a team of 5 can accomplish the same. And again, it's not that they're just copying and pasting items, but rather the process changes. Now, the real ethical question, I think, just happens at the LLM level, the large language model, so OpenAI and so forth. Because yes, we want to prevent a Terminator scenario. And as stupid as it sounds, that's actually a possibility, right? Not in the way people think, because it's not going to be robots, because for that you first need to build the robots, and there's physical is way too ineffective, right? What's more likely to happen is an autonomous agent goes rogue and then changes something in the financial system purely digitally, right? Changes something, and so much of our lives digital, so they can change so much and have it cause damage without ever needing a robot with a gun. But that's not in anybody's hands outside of very few select groups. And a lot of them, including OpenAI, they're taking the non-profit route, even though it's a weird structure they have, but I'm not getting too deep. The bottom line is, I think before we stop ourselves from embracing technology because of ethics, we first need to question, am I reacting out of fear, or is there a way that perhaps I need to change my worldview?